Now we are.
Okay, but now we're live. Okay, we're going 15 minutes early here.
Hell yeah.
You know why?
Because Legos.
Is that really why?
No.
You're interested in Legos?
It's just better to get it done earlier than let it run late.
I know.
In case the thoughts go long. Which is
Well,
possible.
not necessarily thoughts, but we will indeed have Oscar predictions.
Yeah, I didn't actually look through and do category by category yet.
Oh, no, I haven't done that yet
I was
either.
going to do that today, but we had a 116 order day today.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I was a little busy.
It's okay. I mean, we're usually hit 20 of the 24.
Yeah, we usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Are you going to any Oscar parties?
I was not invited to any.
I am not either, at least that I know of.
Well, then, we could totally watch this thing, you know?
I mean, that being said, I might go to one. Because there's one that's always,
There's one
big
that's always
hosted.
there. Well, let me know. If you don't end up doing anything, I'm not doing anything, so I was just gonna watch it here.
Okay.
That was my only plan. I don't know if Chrissy's gonna watch it with me or not. She might.
Did she watch the Grammys with you?
No,
Okay, they don't expect her to... Okay.
because that was the night we went to dinner with my dad and stepmom.
Oh, yeah.
So we couldn't watch the whole thing.
That's
I
right.
watched the beginning of it and then I had to leave.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if she's gonna stick around on Sunday after she stays over after Saturday night.
Ooh, I should
We'll have
probably
a
check
long
my
Saturday.
Gmail. I haven't seen anything.
We'll see.
I haven't checked my Gmail in it lately. I stopped, all the notifications because it just kept bombarding me. Now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. I have to,
It's
check
like, I
that.
don't even care about this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get going.
All right, let's get going. Tell me Netflix. I'm sorry, not Netflix. No. Tell me YouTube. Are we running? Are we good? Are we live? We're live. We have things going here. We have the audio. And we have...
Faults.
Well,
Press start again.
because we open it, somehow it's paused.
Yeah.
But we are live.
Hey! Hello. Welcome to the Media Boat Podcast.
Welcome to February.
It's a Wednesday. It's a February. It's a leap year.
So
All of these things are true.
extra February day.
Yep, and one extra February for
Actually.
y'all this month. It is February the 5th, 2020. This is the Media Boat Podcast. If you don't know what the Media Boat Podcast is, thank you for joining us. We are a podcast that's all about movies, television, video games, and music, not necessarily in that order. We report on the hottest news and thoughts of the newest releases. My name is Matt. Joining me here is Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike. He's Matt. This
Sure.
is our Academy Awards prediction episode.
Yes, we'll get to that a little later. But yes, this is our last show before the Oscars take place on Sunday. We have a big weekend ahead of us, so
Yes.
it's been hard to focus really on that. But yeah,
On some stuff more than others.
yeah, for some people more than others, for some of the things more than others. But yeah, man, it's been quite a busy time in
It's
everybody's
been
life right now.
1 week.
But yeah, so thank you for spending your Wednesday night here with us. If you're not watching us live,
Thank you
on
for listening.
YouTube.com, where you can do so. But yeah, also you can catch this in audio form, and we'll get to the plugs at the end of the show. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So let's get rolling right into the show. We might as well, since we're starting a little early, we might as well get a head start
Yep.
with the weekend box office numbers.
All right. So we had a couple new releases this upcoming week.
Yeah, but man, we knew that the tides were not that the change was not going to happen. We saw the new releases and we were like, no,
Maybe,
none of these.
but no.
None of these.
No, we said no because
Yeah.
Super Bowl is going to just demolish everything.
And sure enough, that was correct. People stayed home. Nobody saw movies. Bad Boys for Life rolled over for a third week with only $17 million.
So does this mean Will Smith is once again a box office star?
I guess by default.
By default, he is starting off this 2020
Yeah.
decade
with a success.
with a success.
With a hit. Because yes, Bad Boys for Life has made $148 million domestic so far.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll hit 150.
Yeah.
Good for it. Number 2, 1917, still getting that Best Picture bump. with $9 million adding to its $119 million total.
Yep, everyone going to see it to say, hey, I saw that film.
Yeah, so when it wins Best Picture on Sunday,
people know what they're talking
people know
about.
what they're talking about.
Or at least they can claim they know what they're talking about.
We'll see. We'll get to that later. Number 3, Dolittle, because people have kids and they need something to see. Made another $7 million. That's at a measly 55 domestic.
I think you mean 55.
Yes. Exactly. And number 4, Gretel and Hansel, one of your debuts this week.
Yes.
The horror version of Hansel and Gretel.
Right, which is titled Gretel and Hansel.
$6 million. That's all right.
That was the debut.
Yeah. And wrapping up your top 5, Jumanji 2: The Next Level, still around.
Still around.
With $6 million adding to a $291 million total. That thing could hit 300.
That thing will skip across 300 then in the coming weeks.
Yeah, probably peter out.
Maybe. Actually, maybe not. It might just hit right under.
We'll see.
Because coming up this week is going to be a hit.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering about the rhythm section.
Oh, yeah. That was also a new release this past weekend.
Well, it got buried way down at number 10 with only $2.7 million.
It couldn't find a rhythm.
No, it couldn't find its rhythm. You're right. What's coming this weekend?
There's only one new
film.
release.
Which is fine because it's probably one that at least some people will care about and will go see. This would be Birds of Prey, the DC Comics adaptation about Harley Quinn and her squad.
Should we say the full title at least once?
So yeah, I realize it has a subtitle, but I don't know the whole thing.
It is Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Okay, got it. That's a mouthful.
It is definitely a mouthful, but I feel like they have to put that so that way, if you're not watching it, oh, this is a Harley Quinn thing, not a new horror film called Birds of Prey.
Yeah. It doesn't really necessarily say what it does by just that name. You're right. So yeah, that's out. That'll probably be your number 1 next week.
I mean, it has to be.
Such a dead time.
It has to top $8 million.
17, but yes. Or half. Yes, it will definitely do that.
All right, so under 40 then.
We don't have to do that. Let's save that for the movies that matter.
Okay.
Moving on. That's it for the box office. So let's talk about.
I'm just saying, normally we put Deadpool around there and it demolishes.
Yeah, this is not Deadpool. I'll tell you right now.
All right.
Before we move on to movie news, did you watch any movies this week?
Marriage Story.
You finally watched Marriage Story.
Did not get to it.
Did not get to Marriage Story. Hey, neither
I had a plan to watch it.
Yeah.
I was all ready to put it on. And then some sports thing happened on Sunday, so
some sports thing. We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later.
But yeah, no, I also did not, because instead of watching a movie, like a Best Picture nominated movie on Netflix, I watched a documentary and a bunch of TV. So we'll get to that in the TV section.
Because the movie is the TV section?
Well, so yes, it's technically a movie.
So is it a movie, a TV, or does it belong in the music category?
So this is the problem with the Netflix stuff, is because they blur so many lines.
Yes.
But yeah, so I will keep it for television.
Okay.
Because it's a TV movie.
Okay.
It's not theatrical release. I think that should be our clarification. Is if it is a Netflix film that is being put out by a movie studio, then maybe we'll consider it a movie. But in this case, this was a Netflix original,
I'm just saying, because we put Irishman up in the movies, but then that
did
get a theatrical release.
It did technically get a theatrical release.
Okay.
So yeah, we're playing fast and loose with these terms, but yeah.
Yeah, we are.
I'll talk about that in television.
All right.
Let's move right into movie news, and yes, of course, we got to talk about it. The Oscars are Sunday.
Sunday.
So, just a little brief intro here, in case you didn't know. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences have announced they will have a tribute to the late basketball icon Kobe Bryant during the 92nd Academy Awards. Bryant will be included in the in memoriam montage, and there may also be a separate tribute planned outside of the montage. Kobe, of course, if you've been following this show, won the 2018 Best Animated Short for his short Dear Basketball, which he wrote, produced, and provided his voice for. The show, the Oscars that is, will be on ABC on Sunday, February 9th. All right, so am I going to give you time here to pull the list up?
Oh, no, you don't have to. Because a lot of these are pretty much already on lock.
Yeah.
Right.
We pretty much know the acting categories. We pretty much know more or less what those are going to look like.
So, Best Actor.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, Joker.
Yeah, it's tough because that's not how this trail has been. It was originally the favorite.
What do you mean?
I feel like he was originally the favorite.
He won the SAG Awards.
Yeah, but didn't he not win the Golden Globe?
No, he won the Golden Globe.
Won the Golden Globe?
Or
did he win?
BAFTAs, I think.
I don't remember what it was. But
yeah, that was this past weekend.
But yeah, no, definitely going into this before award season really got started. I saw him as the easy winner.
Mm-hmm.
It would be weird though because it would be the second time somebody's won an Academy Award for Best Actor for playing the Joker.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? We as a society should not be okay with this.
I mean, I'm not okay with it, but he did make that movie. Wasn't the script, wasn't the directing.
It's like the one.
But it was the one thing that I could agree on that.
And yeah, if Joker wins anything on Sunday, this is the one trophy.
Yeah.
But who do you think also has a chance here?
In Best Actor?
Yeah.
Adam Driver for Marriage Story or Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Leo, perennial loser, except for the one time.
Yes.
So probably
one time
not
he got
him.
mauled by the bear.
Yeah, exactly. He's not mauled by a bear this time, so probably not him.
I mean, the other two in the category are Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes and Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory.
So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
It's probably Joaquin's to lose here.
All right. Then for supporting actor, Brad Pitt won everything on this. I mean, I think even walking out of that film, I was like, isn't Brad Pitt like the star of this thing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's won all the supporting actors so far. So put Brad Pitt down.
Star next to Brad Pitt for sure.
For actress, I think you're gonna have to go with Renee Zellweger for Judy.
Yeah, it's the prestige pick. It's the biopic pick, which means that chances are she has an advantage.
Yes. I mean, she's going up against Charlize Theron, Cynthia Erivo, Scarlett Johansson, and Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Saoirse's performance in Little Women.
Yes.
I mean, that movie is so good at like working to her strengths, and she's so good in it.
Yes, but how many people do you think have actually seen Little Women?
Probably less people. Yes.
Yes.
But I mean, probably more people than those who've seen Judy, to be honest.
You might be right, but then again, people might just be falling in line with, okay.
Yeah.
I guess
it's like, she's playing Judy Garland. She probably did a really good job.
Yes.
And so that's why, yes. No, I agree with you. I think this is definitely a cakewalk. And yeah, it would be very surprising if we saw anybody else win.
And then for supporting actress, your money's probably going to be on Laura Dern for Marriage Story.
Yes.
Your other nominees are Florence Pugh, Scarlett Johansson, Margot Robbie, and Kathy Bates.
Yeah, if Marriage Story comes away with anything on Sunday, this is it.
For supporting actress, Laura Dern.
Yeah, I think Laura Dern is definitely your pick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Best Director.
Yeah, tough one this year.
I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
My guess is Sam Mendes.
So the question is do you think that your best picture is 1917? Because if that's true,
yes,
then Sam Mendes probably also takes this. But we could also see a split like last year.
Okay, so I can put Todd Phillips out of this category.
Hell, yeah, no, he doesn't even need to be here.
I could probably put Bong Joon-ho out of this category as well because it's a foreign Parasite is a foreign film, and they're not going to give it to it.
More of an uphill battle. The same reason why I won't win Best Picture either.
Right. Now, the question comes down to Quentin Tarantino, Martin Scorsese, and Sam Mendes.
So I think they won't probably give it to Scorsese because of the Netflix connection. They probably...
Yes, but if they're going to give him anything, they would give him director and not Best Picture. Man. That is the only thing there.
I guess the question is when we're talking possible runners up here, if we're talking if the second place battle potentially is between Scorsese and Tarantino, which one do you think is stronger of the two?
I think...
It's been a while since they've given anything to Tarantino.
Yes.
But did he deserve it this time?
It's an ode to old Hollywood, which Hollywood loves.
Correct.
And it's also revisionist history.
So this is a three-way race.
Yes. I mean, those are your top three directors there. That being said, I think you still go with Sam Mendes.
Yeah, my gut says...
For World War I film.
To use your split theory... My gut says is that Tarantino and Scorsese split so many people that Sam Mendes takes it.
Yeah. Well, see, the ranked vote only happens for Best Picture, but everything else is the top. Is just numbered. So I think because you will see a lot of split between these three.
Yeah.
I think you'll see more split between Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, two very well-known established names. Sam Mendes is more of an up-and-comer, even though he's been a franchise director for years.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think you're right. I think that this is his time to be given something like this as a jump start.
Yep.
If it's not him, I think it'll be Tarantino.
Really? Because I'm the opposite. I'd go with Scorsese.
Over Scorsese, just because I think the Netflix connection probably ruffled a lot of feathers. Because it's different from...
Yeah, but you can give it to the person and not necessarily the film.
But I'm saying is that to a lot of the Academy voters, that a lot of the Academy voters, there probably isn't too much of a difference there. And yes, I know that last year we did have that happen. Mm-hmm. But as much as, as much as a much better movie Roma was, I think that Scorsese is still a better known director. And I think that his ties and he'll be seen as kind of a traitor.
Maybe.
So yeah, I think Tarantino probably, if not Sam Mendes. But yeah, Sam Mendes is probably the lock.
Okay. Moving on to music score.
Score!
Star Wars 1917, Joker, Little Women, and Marriage Story.
So Joker has the previous win because...
Golden Globes, I think, gave it to
Golden Globe. Yeah. The Golden Globe went to them.
Yeah.
But other than that, there was that theory that we floated a few weeks ago about this might be the career-capping
John Williams
to give it to John Williams.
Yes. And I think the
We're really flummoxed by this year, aren't we?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of these categories where it's just like, who the hell knows?
Right. I mean, I'm going to go with Star Wars because
it
is John Williams has said this is the last time scoring Star Wars.
Yeah, but
I think the only time he's ever won was the first one.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I don't feel like it was memorable at all. I don't remember.
No, but it's a Star Wars score.
Yeah, it's serviceable.
Yes.
Is the problem. So I said...
And it's John Williams, and it's probably his last time.
My gut says they won't do it.
I think we had this thing last year with... who was it?
I don't remember.
Alan Silvestri.
Right.
Yeah, and they didn't give it to him.
Yeah, so I don't think
that's why you think Joker will get it?
I don't know if it'll be Joker, but I don't know if it's going to be Star Wars.
Okay.
But I don't know enough about... For all we know, 1917 could be your winner here.
Thomas Newman over Randy Newman?
Sure.
Alright. Best animated feature.
Yeah.
Toy Story 4, Missing Link, Claws, How to Train Your Dragon, and I Lost My Body.
So, knowing two out of these, I have no idea about the two.
The Claws or I Lost My Body?
Yeah. What I've been noticing is that Toy Story 4, surprisingly, is getting a lot of attention right now.
Really?
Yes.
Toy Story 4 was just put out on Disney Plus this past weekend.
I say this race is between Missing Link and Toy Story 4. It depends on how much of the Academy is going to vote for the Disney film and how much are going to actually vote for the one they liked.
Right.
So I think that if the Disney stands don't show up, this is Missing Link, just like it was in the Golden Globes. But we'll see.
I think you might see a lot of people who saw that Missing Link one and was like, oh, we don't want that. We got to vote. And they'll pick Toy Story 4.
Yeah, Toy Story 4 is strong here. I think in the absence of another Disney film, I mean, it has an advantage of just by being Disney.
Right, but Missing Link has the advantage for being Laika.
And it has a win.
So, and it has a win.
Yeah,
and it's stop motion.
It's those two, but my gut says Missing Link.
All right, I think Missing Link as well.
Okay. All right. Watch us both be wrong.
Yeah. Best documentary feature: The Edge of Democracy, For Sama, Honeyland, American Factory, and The Cave. Do you know anything about any of these?
No, I don't know anything about these, so this is going to be a wild card.
I think The Cave is the only one I know of.
The only one I've heard of all of them, is The Cave.
Right.
Is there a reason why we know what that is?
It was a war movie, I think.
Okay.
It was either that or was what was it? The Miners story. No, maybe that was American Factory.
Who the hell knows?
We're going with The Cave?
I guess, sure.
All right.
It's the one we recognize.
Right. Parasite for Best Foreign Language Film. Don't have to go through that.
We don't need to go through those. That will win.
Yep. All right. Screenplay, your category then.
So, you can read the nominees anyway, but yeah, I have my picks.
I know you have your picks, but Best Original Screenplay, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, Knives Out, and 1917.
So, this should be Knives Out.
Yes, you declared it a while ago.
Yeah, but now as we get closer, I'm getting a little nervous about it, because if they don't give Tarantino director, they have to give him screenplay.
And they kind of always give him screenplay.
So that's probably the favorite here, is Tarantino's screenplay. But man, would it be so good if Rian Johnson took this.
Rian Johnson.
Rian?
Yes.
It's Ryan.
I know it's Ryan.
But yeah, I think it's really those two. And
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Rian Johnson win.
I would also love to see Rian Johnson win, but if I was a betting man, Tarantino wins.
Right, but I was also a betting man at the Super Bowl, and I chose poorly.
We'll get to that later.
So, Knives Out, and then adapted screenplay, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, The Irishman, Joker, and The Two Popes.
This is tough. This one's a tougher battle than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think... Well, the only one I've seen out of these is, of course, Little Women. I think it's a very strong adaptation. She does a lot of cool things with the presentation of a familiar story that she knows a lot of people will already know the beats of.
Yeah.
And so that is impressive to me. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to win. Where are you going with this one?
I am kind of leaning towards Jojo Rabbit because I've heard nothing but good stuff about it.
Yeah.
However, I don't think most people know that it is an adapted work.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it's also not something a lot of people have seen.
Right. I think you might be onto something with Little Women because it is a well-known work and something that got nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
That being said, so does The Irishman and so did The Joker.
So the thing about Joker is that I think it'll be some people's pick just because of if you're going to vote for two things, it's going to be the script and it's going to be Joaquin Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if The Irishman has a chance here because Scorsese movies aren't known for their scripts.
Right. And as I said with The Joker, this is a terrible script.
Right. And obviously, yes, we know that it's not great.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's tough because, like, As much as I want to believe that Little Women can win, like, I'm worried about... I don't know. I'm worried that it can't get the votes.
Get the numbers.
So... But yeah, but you may have convinced me that maybe it is the winner.
I think it is the winner. I think I want to put my money on Little Women.
Okay. Yeah, we can lock that one.
All right. That leaves cinematography. Roger Deakins. Don't have to say anything else.
Deke!
And then Best Picture.
I mean, yeah, my gut says 1917. But
yes.
If your split theory is correct, it could be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Because it's not split, it's ranked.
Right.
It's not everyone's favorite, but it is everyone's second or third favorite.
And so, yeah, if you have 1917...
If you have a lot of people put 1917 low because, it's just a World War II film. A World War I film. We've seen this already.
Yeah.
Or Irishman. Oh, it's another Scorsese film. Or it's a Netflix film.
It's a Netflix film.
Rank that low.
Right.
Marriage Story. Netflix film. Rank it low.
Yeah.
Parasite. Foreign film. Rank it low.
Yeah. Little Women.
Little Women.
It's an adaptation of something we've seen before.
Rank it low.
Yeah. So
Jojo Rabbit. Didn't see it.
Who knows? Yeah.
Who knows?
Seen it. So yeah, by process of elimination almost, it is 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And between the two, 1917 is the bombast. It's the period piece. Well, I mean, both are period pieces, but
yes.
It's the war movie. It's the traditional winner.
It got the guy knighted.
Yeah, it's the traditional
It's
winner.
won every other award. It won the Producers Guild.
But then
it won the Directors Guild.
Right. And then but on the other hand, you have Quentin Tarantino who's been waiting patiently for a Best Picture.
Yes. And this is 9 of 10.
And this is
if
almost
you don't,
done.
And according to Tarantino, it's if you don't give me it for this, you're gonna have to give me it for next 10. Otherwise, like, are you really, as an Academy, gonna wait to see what number 10 is to basically like hand it to him? Or he's gotten so close now that you just want to be like, okay, we're giving it to you now, so that way if you somehow screw this up at number 10, it's okay.
But my gut still says 1917 because of the trail of awards it will have in its wake.
Yes, I know that. But because because Green Book screwed it up so badly, and because Moonlight screwed it up so badly,
we might have another Green Book scenario.
Right.
But I'm locking 1917 here. I can't not. I just feel like it's gonna.
I can't.
It's inevitable.
In good conscience, say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the Best Picture winner.
Well,
and I can't in good conscience say that. So I want to.
Well, we convene on Sunday and we'll see who's right.
I know, but 1917.
Yeah, it probably will be, but there's that 20% chance there that there could be an upset.
Yes, and that's what I'm.
We got to be ready for upsets. After last year, we got to be prepared at all times.
Well, technically, even 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Well, no, Moonlight was the deserved winner that year.
Well,
La La Land was a fluke.
Well, yeah, La La Land was the ode to old Hollywood.
Right.
So,
but it didn't win.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So does that mean 1917? Or are they going to try and overcorrect that mistake?
I'm thinking that there's a lot of overcorrecting going on, especially how they did the nominees this year.
Right.
So yes, I believe that is why 1917 wins.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
All right, so those are our top picks for the top awards.
So we'll see what happens on Sunday. We're no guarantees that if you're putting money on this, don't listen to us because we have no guarantee.
That being said, the past 5 years we've been doing this.
Done all right.
We've at least hit 20.
Yeah, we've always hit at least 20.
Yeah, between the two of us.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see how it goes on Sunday. But for now, we got to move on.
No, there's other news.
To talk about.
Yeah.
There's a whole other movie story. This one about SAG-AFTRA and their new series of standards.
Ooh, what is the new standard?
Well, the Actors Union has released a series of standards and guidelines on the use of intimacy coordinators on film sets to help protect actors from abuse in the wake of the Me Too movement. Under the guidelines, intimacy coordinators would have pre-production meetings with producers, directors, and writers to establish the exact degree of nudity expected and the specifics of simulated sex as established in scripts. Amanda Blumenthal, the founder of the Intimacy Professionals Association, helped create the guidelines and said, "It strikes the right balance between describing the roles and responsibilities of intimacy coordinators while also allowing for flexibility from show to show. This move aims to fight sexual harassment and other sexual misconduct aimed at actors." This is really smart.
Yeah.
Bring some
I thought
people,
you would like this story.
This is smart because it's like bringing in some people like to kind of curb the directors maybe like getting a little too overboard with these scenes.
Right, either full frontal nudity or full...
Or the actors themselves.
In a
lot of cases.
Although I still question is how much of this is actually necessary when it comes to putting it in film.
I mean, it depends on the scene, right?
Yeah.
It's going to so wildly vary.
I mean, it does depend on the scene and depends on, like, the tone or where you want to go with the story.
Right, exactly.
But just have, like, the gratuitous sex scene in there when you could just easily cut to next morning.
Right. It just, there's a lot of questions here about what the need is, and the need is going to vary from film to film. Mm-hmm. But this will help with some of the more, like, maybe, say, darker depictions of what could happen in a sexual encounter.
Right.
This will kind of keep things safe, keep things away from getting too real on camera and putting people in actual danger.
I wonder if this is kind of a subtle hint of what kind of films we're going to expect in the next decade.
I mean, there's always been films with this kind of content.
Yeah, but, films typically drawn...
Yes. Exactly. With it's on people's minds, I bet there's going to be a lot of films about this specific subject coming out very soon here.
Right, especially usually what happens is you take what's happened in the past 5 years and you put it to film for the next 5 years.
I mean, Bombshell just came out. That's a good example of that kind of story. Mm-hmm. So there's just more to come, I'm sure. So yeah, that's an interesting story because that'll be really, really good for a lot of situations.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for movies, and we have no thoughts. So.
Yes, I had a quick thought on something, but I don't need to
do it now. Let's talk about television because we need to talk about sports.
Yeah, it was like a quick movie blurb thing of news story, but
let's just
move on. We can just move on because we have stuff to talk about.
When it comes to you, blurt it out. But first, we have
I come across this stuff constantly. It's like, I should write about that. Oh no, it's only like a little thing. That's what it was. What? It was Disney's going to do an adaptation of Hamilton.
Yes, they outbid everybody else.
Using the original cast. That's what it was.
Yes, apparently it's going to straight up be the stage version.
Yes.
That they just shot before the cast broke up for that version of the show. I was listening to the radio this morning.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah. They outbid everybody. Disney will have the rights to that, and it will be 2021 into the year of 2021.
Right, so expect that on probably Disney Plus, if it's just going to be the stage production.
Expect that to be in the conversation for next year's Academy Award.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, let's talk about sports. And, of course...
Nothing big happened.
The one big thing in sports, of
Nothing big happened.
That thing big. Indeed. The Super Bowl.
Yes.
Super Bowl Live.
Yes. Super Bowl Live, Die, Repeat.
Yep.
Super Bowl Live, Pray, Love.
Yep, there was.
Super Bowl
Liv
Tyler.
But yeah, Super Bowl 54 happened this weekend. On
Super Bowl
Sunday.
Live Strong.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The Kansas City Chiefs are your Super Bowl champions.
Congratulations to Andy Reid for getting 222 wins before they gave you a ring.
And congratulations to quarterback Patrick Mahomes for breaking the Madden curse.
I'd like to point out that he did not break the Madden curse. As much as people say this, he did not break the Madden curse because, as people seem to forget, in the middle of the year, he got hurt in his ankle for like 2 weeks, and that's when the Madden curse struck.
All right.
Or, as some people on Twitter have put it, Antonio Brown got hit so hard with the Madden curse that it affected him for 2 years.
Fair enough. But yeah, this was predicted, as predicted for the most part.
It was funny. Depends on who you ask, because the 49ers were always +1 or plus 1.5 in Vegas
good.
odds.
And they looked pretty good in the first half. They looked pretty good for a while there. And then you come back from the Super Bowl halftime show, and then all of a sudden the Chiefs just dominate.
Right. I mean, the Super Bowl halftime show is a literal 40 minutes of an extra. Well, it's normally supposed to be a 10-minute intermission period. It's turned into a 30-minute intermission period for the halftime show. It
gave a lot of time for the Chiefs to really think about their strategy.
It also gave a lot of time for Kyle Shanahan to overthink his strategy yet again, as the Kansas City Chiefs scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to rally a win.
Yes. It was, it was an entertaining game. It remained close enough to be interesting up until the very end. Mm-hmm. And I think that made it a lot more interesting than last year's game, for damn sure. And that's what I'm talking about.
More touchdowns were scored.
And that's not even talking about the halftime show itself.
Oh, you mean the Miami Strip Club?
So what did you think of J-Lo and Shakira shaking their thhangs?
I would like to point out that Shakira wore her Zootopia costume. I thought that was a nice I thought that was a very nice touch.
Yeah.
But also that they brought the entire feeling of Miami to the Super Bowl halftime show.
All they needed was a pit bull.
And all they needed was cocaine.
That too.
But yes, Bad Bunny making an appearance.
And J Balvin. Both of them.
Yes. Prompting all the old people I was watching it with to say,
Who is that?
Who is that? Yeah. And why are they speaking Spanish? Who hit the SAP button?
The people I was with are not too much older than me, but I also had to explain to them who they were. So
not only that, but then I had to explain to them that they were two separate people and not the same person who did a costume change.
Right. Yeah, no, it's like, no. And it was funny, too, because I was like, oh, is that J Balvin? And then I noticed right behind him is his name, J Balvin.
Yes.
On the screen. I was like, oh, that's very convenient. Thank you. So I knew the first guy was Bad Bunny because I knew Bad Bunny was on that song.
Yeah, that's what I knew.
Anyway. I thought this was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was really well choreographed, just constant dancing. Just cool moment after cool moment.
They played the hits.
Shakira, shredding on the guitar was awesome.
Yes.
Shakira
shakes her hips
on the frickin' drums was really cool.
That was a great shot.
Her with that weird rope thing was like, all right, this is what they're doing. And then of course J-Lo on the stripper pole.
Which time?
Like any time. And then you get them both just shaking their butts.
Yes,
as they are wont to
as
do.
the GIF went around the world of them just shaking their butts.
So it was really, really well done. I enjoyed every aspect of it. I don't think I liked a Super Bowl halftime show this much since the Lady Gaga one.
I don't think I've liked it this much since the Prince one.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, which was also in Miami.
Right, the last time. So I thought this was just leagues better than last year's Maroon 5 travesty.
Oh yeah, no, they clearly saw that whoa, this is no longer an event. We need to step up the game.
It is of note.
You can't just put someone out there and let them do what they want.
On that note, this is the first Super Bowl halftime show that is under the guidance and suggestion of Jay-Z and his Rock Nation group, which said, remember when we reported that story about he would be consulting for a lot of NFL related things. Mm-hmm. This was his first assignment.
Yes.
And you can definitely see that they really there's an attention to detail that we haven't seen in a while in the choreography and the showmanship of the halftime show.
It was definitely a show. It was definitely a showstopper because it literally stops the show of what else is going on.
But how about the commercials? Any standout commercials that you can remember?
The opening commercial, the NFL Play 100, where the kid ran through all the different streets and cities.
It's something similar last year. Remember?
Yeah, but not as wide because this was the 100th year.
This one had to be a big deal. Yeah.
Again, I also had to explain to
who those people were.
Not who the NFL legends were, but who this kid was.
Oh.
And why was it him? It was like, oh, is he supposed to be OBJ? I was like, no.
No.
There's a contest throughout the whole season, and he won the contest.
Yeah.
And like he got to bring out the ball, and then all the 32 teams were represented by the different kids. And I was like, this was said last year or at the opening kickoff for the Super Bowl, or for the opening kickoff of this season, and then also for the Hall of Fame game was announced.
Yeah.
For that as well. But other commercials that stand out, Jason Momoa, Baby Peanut. I guess, according to some poll, the Groundhog's Day Jeep commercial was the best one.
It was okay. It was all right.
Yeah. Also, the worst one was the Donald Trump commercial.
Well, yeah, obviously.
The
one that I remember, and the only one that I recall after the fact, was the one where they brought back Rachel Dratch to do her old Boston character from SNL about the parking the car.
The parking the cars. I thought that
really
was a great one.
I really enjoyed that. I feel like that's for 5 people at this point, but yes. I was one of those 5 people.
I loved it. I thought it was great because it was just, you're parking the car and the car parks itself.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
That was great.
That's the only one that I really... And yeah, freaking Baby Nut. I thought they were going to do it, and then they did it.
Yes. Oh, but did you notice that it was Kool-Aid who brought back Baby Nut?
Yeah, Kool-Aid brought back Baby Nut with his hashtag Magic Cheers. Because I keep getting promoted tweets on Twitter from frickin' Kool-Aid Man.
Kool-Aid Man.
And it says hashtag Magic Tears. I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. I thought it was smart of P&G to have one commercial featuring all their products instead of doing separate commercials.
Yeah. Oh, man. Just the moment with the frickin' bear. The Charmin bear.
The chili.
Talk about her clean booty.
Yes.
It's just like, this is a little much, isn't it?
It was like, oh, thank you for telling me that you literally own all of these products.
Yep.
And congratulations on finally figuring out that you need to save money by doing this.
One thing, though, I will, and that kind of brings up a good point, though. One thing I will say that I'm totally over by the end of this Super Bowl, that was once novel, the ad crossovers.
Yeah.
Where you think it's an ad for one thing and then it turns into an ad for something else.
The Tide ads.
I'm done with it. The Tide thing was a bridge too far.
Yeah.
Where it just happened way too many times, and I was just over it by the end of it. I was just like...
Now? Can we do a Tide ad now? No.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like, we're done. We're done. And yeah, I just think that, like I said, once it was novel. Like, it was cool to see, like, oh, this brand is in this brand, and they must have agreed to do this. But yeah, I think we've done it now for 3 years in a row, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing combo ads. Just do your individual combo ad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Those are all your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I said, the halftime show was the highlight for me. The game wasn't bad, though. And I was satisfied by the end, which is more than you could say about it last year.
I was a little miffed that I didn't get the trailer that I wanted in Tenet by Christopher Nolan. Nor did I get a Eternals trailer from Marvel. But we
got the ones we said you weren't that I said that you said we weren't going to see, which was Black Widow.
Yeah.
And 3 seconds of Wonder Woman 1984 before it turns into the Tide ad again.
Yes.
I think that's what pushed me over the edge. I was like, no!
It's like, here's Wonder Woman. No,
I'm going to see some Wonder Woman, and now you're giving me this Tide ad again.
Yeah.
Charlie Day, you are not Wonder Woman.
Or when that commercial came on, I started singing Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I don't need no Wonder Woman.
Didn't happen. Wasn't worth it. Oh well.
Don't lasso the truth out of you.
Anyway, anything else you want to talk about with the Super Bowl, or can we move on to the rest of sports?
It
happened.
It happened. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He finally said, I'm going to Disney World, as he said when he was a little kid.
You have to say that.
And he still definitely looked like a little kid getting to say it.
Yeah.
Big congrats to Andy Reid. The parade was today. And technically, the official NFL season doesn't end until February 28th, I believe.
Okay.
So the end of February is when the official...
End of the
official season ends. And then the next season begins. Because following that... On April 15th, I believe, is when free agency happens.
Got it. Well, it'll be the end of football, the end of February, but then we'll be 22 days away from the first game in Angel Stadium.
Yeah. It's baseball season.
Because we have baseball stuff to talk about.
Oh, there's a big baseball news.
Trades, and more trades. So the big upset trade, of course, that people are pissed about in Boston.
Well, you can go pock the cause in their ass.
All right, so yes, a 14 trade sent Mookie Betts, David Price, and Luis Rengifo to the Dodgers.
Yes, Luis Rengifo of the Angels, but everyone else from the Dodgers.
And they got rid of Kenta Maeda from the Twins.
No, going to the Twins.
Yeah.
Maeda's going to the Twins.
Yeah, and then Jacques Peterson
going to the Angels.
Alex Verdugo to the Red Sox. And Brusdar Graterol to the Red Sox.
Yep, you got that right.
Graterol.
Yes. Red Sox had to do this because Mookie Betts was going to be a free agent at the end of this upcoming season.
And
it was either sign him to a ridiculously massive contract and basically can't afford the cap space.
But yeah, people
or trade him and get some money out of him.
People are pissed about Mookie.
Yes. Depends on who you ask, though, because apparently in LA, today was Mookie Day.
Right. A lot of people are kind of getting ahead of this and being like, man, if they lose Mookie Betts and if Tom Brady leaves the Patriots potentially.
Oh, that was another commercial.
Yeah.
The Tom Brady fake out.
Right. I'm still here. I'm still going to be here.
Yes.
Or something like that at the end there. Yeah. But yeah, if both of those things happen in calendar year 2020, there will be riots in Boston. So
we always say there's going to be riots in Boston, though. It's like a thing they do.
Tea Party 2. It's happening. But yeah, this will make for an interesting season coming up here.
Yeah.
Speaking of interesting
that being said, hopefully the Dodgers win because no more cheating, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Speaking of season, I was going to keep this for video games, but might as well mention it here.
Yeah.
I finally went back and finished my season in the show.
Oh, you finally got uninjured?
I recovered, and it took me a couple weeks to recover from my injury.
Okay.
I was back in the game. They put me right back in. We made the playoffs.
Okay.
Nice. And we lost to the Astros.
I wonder why.
Wasn't because of me. They pulled me and then proceeded to lose the game. So I was like, "Hey, you can't blame me. You could have kept me in. I could have pitched us to a victory, but no, you pulled me in the fifth and let some douchebag take over, and you lost the game."
All right.
So we did not succeed.
As an aside in the MLB, Pete Rose is filing agreements with the MLB to be reinstated.
Wow, did we call this?
Yeah, I think we did call this.
We made this happen. We put this energy into the air.
Well, yeah, because he is the standard, and if the Astros are clearly getting away with it, then why is
this small thing?
Yeah. Because Pete Rose is the all-time hits leader.
Like we said last week, if the league itself is in bed with these betting organizations, then why not?
Right. I think this might be the one thing that does get him back into it.
Yeah.
Because the seal, that betting seal has been broken. The cheating scandal has been broken.
Yeah, it's all over at this point. All right. And lastly in sports, Novak Djokovic,
a.k.a. the Joker,
won his 8th Australian Open in 13 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the women's singles for the Australian Open, Sophia Kenin won.
Yep. The U.S.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Tennis.
Tennis. There is some NBA All-Star news, but I will save all that news of how they're changing up the scoring and the 3-point contest for when the actual event happens, which is in 2 weeks.
Okay. So look forward to that, people.
Yeah.
All right.
But that being said, Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James are going to be your team captains.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Luka Doncic, who was in the lead, got injured about a week ago. So he's no longer going to be a captain.
I see. All right. Is there anything else clean up for sports before we move on to television news?
Oh, no. Let's move on to television news.
All right. First up, Netflix is our first story, and they are bringing over a favorite amongst fans of anime.
So, I know of this anime, But I have not read this anime.
I have not. You mean the manga?
Manga.
Or seen the anime?
Or seen.
Literally all I know about this series is when they had the terribly butchered U.S. version on Fox Kids for that brief amount of time, and it was before. I think the reason why I saw a lot of that theme song and like parts of the show was because it was before the Kirby Right Back At Ya show.
Because you're all about Kirby.
At that time.
Yes.
But One Piece. I understand it's a big favorite for people who are into anime. It's a long-running show. I think it started in like 98 or something. Or the manga started in 98 and it's been printed ever since. It's very long-running. But this is a live-action series based on that manga and anime.
So, if you didn't read the manga or you didn't watch the anime, well, maybe the live-action series will get you into it.
The 10-episode series comes from Tomorrow Studios and One Piece publisher Shueisha. One Piece follows, in case you don't know, the story of Monkey D. Luffy and his pirate crew as they search the seas for the ultimate treasure known as One Piece.
Oh, he said the title. Ba, ba, ba.
To become the next Pirate King.
Yes.
Stephen Maeda, who was previously in Lost and The X-Files, is the showrunner, is the showrunner, head writer, and executive producer, alongside Matt Owens, who I guess was involved in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage.
One of the head writers for those shows.
As writer and executive producer. The original author of the manga series, Ichiro Oda, will be an executive producer. Mm-hmm. The first chapter of One Piece, as I just kind of obliquely mentioned, I got the year wrong, was released on July 19th, 1997. And its 970th chapter was just released on February 3rd. Netflix has previously turned other mangas into live-action adaptations in the past, including Death Note and the upcoming adaptation of Cowboy Bebop.
So if we want to get to 960 episodes of Meebo Podcast...
a lot longer than this. But people really, really love One Piece. So it'll be interesting to see how this is received.
It'll be interesting to see who they decide to cast for this.
Also,
expect a bunch
the whole thing isn't he like stretchy?
Yes.
The dude's stretchy?
Yes, that is part of the manga thing, is that he is stretchy and that he can up his power level.
How do they translate that? I guess heavy CG?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Which makes me
makes you wonder why they're doing a live-action adaptation of this thing that can't really be adapted into live-action. Mm-hmm. But, who am I to judge?
I mean, Full Metal Alchemist was also adapted into a live-action.
Yeah.
And Death Note was also adapted to a live-action.
Yeah, but...
Right. When we talk about, action mangas...
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens. All right. Our next story is about the total opposite of all that manga and anime talk. The Directors Guild of America.
All right. So, the DGA.
The Directors Guild and management's AMPTP will begin negotiations for a new film and TV contract on February 10th, making the DGA the first guild to sit down with the companies. Before the Writers Guild and, of course, SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild. Right, which we have reported on the Writers Guild. Yes. Last year, they're still in limbo there. Compensation for streaming services is expected to take center stage in these talks with the DGA. Their current contract expires on June 30th. Yeah, so in previous years, the DGA has always gone first prior to striking a deal with the Writers Guild and SAG-AFTRA. I don't know why, those other deals expired before the DGA, since they're usually all made around the same time. Yeah. But the fact that they want the directors first, before the writers and the actors, makes it kind of in their ballpark and interesting to see where this goes. Because, as we mentioned with the writers, that will indeed be one of the biggest topics is streaming revenue, because it's not like traditional TV where you can get viewers, because normally they hoard all that information. Right. It's a different game. Mm-hmm. Different ball game at that point. Right. All right. That story. Yeah. I mean, that's something
we'll continue to keep our eye on until we hear something about it.
Speaking of keeping our eyes on things, we had our eyes all over the place on television this week.
All right, so this is why those kind of two news stories were kind of like little fluff pieces.
Because the big stories were what was actually on television.
Yeah, we have a lot of thoughts.
Have 2 series finales to talk about.
But before we get to those...
Okay. You want to run through the other 2 first?
Let's run through the other 2 first.
Okay, so you watched some Masked Singer, which is back right now on Fox. It was the lead-in program after the Super Bowl, notably.
Yes. So normally, like, when you have a show, or when you host the Super Bowl, you want your lead-in show, post that, to be typically your big hitter or the big show of your network.
And Fox has an inexplicable hit with The Masked Singer. It was big the first season. People couldn't stop talking about it. So they're taking advantage of that hype. And yeah, it's living up to it. People are still talking about The Masked Singer.
Yeah. I kind of would have liked to see the season premiere of 911 come back instead with a 2-hour season premiere. But I guess because they're doing 911 Lone Star instead, they're giving the regular proper one a break, or more likely, new contracts.
Or a combination of those
things. A combination of those. But, so, they decided to do the cheap and easy thing to produce, which is The Masked Singer.
Oh, yeah.
And
emphasis on the cheap.
Emphasis on the cheap. So, Masked Singer, it's the exact same thing, exact same concept, exact same setup. Bunch of costumed celebrities, loosely termed here, come out and perform karaoke style. And then the audience gets to vote on who sang the worst. And then they get revealed.
Yep.
And guess who sang the worst?
So Lil Wayne, apparently.
Yes, that is not a shocker to me.
He's not a singer.
I mean, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
But also, he has such a unique tone and style that for him to sing other people's songs is not in anywhere near his repertoire.
Right.
So it was easy for him to be eliminated. But also, I think that might have been on purpose to have that shock and awe that, oh my God, Lil Wayne didn't win, but he's a well-known singer, isn't he?
He put out a record this week.
Yeah.
For instance. So yeah, that was a good get, I think, but it's still the level of celebrity that The Masked Singer dwells in. They're not going to get anybody who's actually like nominated for an award or something this year.
Current.
Or somebody, they're not going to get somebody current. They're going to be somebody that is a name that you remember from some years back.
Right, like T-Pain for the first one.
Exactly like T-Pain.
Or Patti LaBelle.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Layla Ali.
The reason why they get that tier is because that's
Daughtry.
One, who they can afford, and 2, they're going for the nostalgia factor.
Right. I mean, that's part of like the gimmick in this thing is here's someone who hasn't been in the spotlight for the past 5 years.
Here's a thing to make you remember them.
You're right. And here's them basically having a big reveal. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to go do some quick Googling on them.
Yeah, what's happened to them?
What's happened to them since this happened?
Yeah. So yeah, it's The Masked Singer.
Yeah. You don't need to dwell on it.
Yeah.
But you did watch something else.
All right, so I'll talk about this. I'll try to be brief. It's been occupying a lot of my thoughts.
Okay.
But I'm probably going to do this is, I guess, is my chance to plug. Me and my girlfriend have a blog that we've started. It looks like right now it's kind of been mostly music, but I will be using that as kind of a place to write some long form pieces every once in a while. And I am planning to write about this, but I haven't gotten to yet. But yeah, I watched
This is a cross promotion?
Yes, it's cross promotion. It's Rose Quartz Tarot House.
Okay, very Steven Universe.
Yeah, exactly. Rose Quartz Tarot House .wordpress.com. Check it out. Anyway, I watched the documentary Miss Americana on Netflix, which is about Taylor Swift.
Okay, so I saw on Spotify's new releases that Taylor Swift put out the single for this.
Yes. So, that is part of this. So, the documentary specifically takes place... Well, it has footage throughout Taylor's life, but mostly it is about the period of time between the recording of Reputation and the recording of Lover.
Okay.
So it chronicles the aftermath of the Kanye West stuff First after the VMAs, and then after the Kim Kardashian call about the famous lyric.
Right.
And then kind of chronicles the feedback, the negative feedback she got after Reputation's release, and the fallout after that call, and then into kind of her recovery of like image-wise, into like her getting more comfortable with expressing her politics by supporting Democratic senators in Nashville, in Tennessee.
Right, because that was something that was absent the previous election,
which she addresses in this, and then up to the release of Lover and this current era of Taylor.
Now, does it identify anything to do with the Scooter Braun deal?
Mentions nothing about the Big Machine stuff.
Ooh.
My guess about that is that probably...
That's the thing I'm more interested in out of anything here.
Yeah, well, my guess is that either one, that all happened after this thing was done and in the can, or that because of being wrapped up in litigation over it,
she can't say anything
maybe they
about
couldn't say anything about it at that time when that was being produced. But literally everything else that's happened to Taylor Swift over the course of her career is in this thing.
Okay.
They do a lot of their due diligence about every little bit. So yes, she addresses the whole being silent in 2016. Turns out may not have been her decision. The documentary gives you the idea that Taylor is as much of a brand as a person at this point, and everything that she does career-wise is by committee. There's literally scenes of her in a boardroom at a table with several consultants, and they're all kind of mutually deciding what is going to happen for the album rollout, for decision making. There's a scene in specific where she's arguing with her own father about coming out in support of a Democratic nominee. Basically, her saying she wants to do it, and she regrets being silent in 2016 and wants to be politically active and wants to kind of fight against this Trumpism. And her dad's the one being like, do you want half the people not to show up to your next tour? Basically, the things that everybody else was defending her with back when she was silent.
Right.
So she was getting it internally, too. That's the thing. And that is kind of in a microcosm of what this documentary is. It's basically like, let's actually consider what it is like to be the person Taylor Swift, not just the outward appearance. Like, what was she thinking when all these people on the internet turned on her? What was she thinking when Kanye West stole her microphone in 2009? What was going through her mind when she couldn't speak out about her political leanings? Like, where's the decision process when she was recording these songs for Reputation? Why?
So, instead of writing a book, she's doing a movie tell-all?
Kind of, yeah. This is very much like, it feels like it wants to be a tell-all.
Okay.
You can say that, does any of this matter? She's still super rich and successful, and you can make that argument, like, why are we dwelling on this person?
I mean, you could also make the argument of, is she putting this out to get people to like her again, to go to her concert?
That's the other half of this, is that it also seems like this is a really smart business move, because it's basically her being like, no, this is me now, I'm honest, I'm likable now because I speak my mind, basically turning the tables on everybody who was like all like, oh, she's so secretive and she doesn't say anything about all this stuff. And so yeah, you could read it as a really good business strategy, a bit like, I'm gonna get my fans back kind of thing, a turn to being like a more like intimate kind of relationship with the celebrity kind of thing. So because the fact that it's a documentary, it can be interpreted in all sorts of these ways. Okay. You can interpret it in any of these ways and still kind of get out at the end with your own mind being made up about who Taylor Swift is. Which I think is why I'm so fascinated by it. And I've been thinking about it a lot. Because, yeah, it's very similar to that Lady Gaga documentary that they did a couple years ago about her kind of transition and the release of Jolene.
Yeah.
Or whatever the hell that was. It wasn't Jolene. That's Dolly Parton song.
Yeah.
Was Joanne. Joanne was the record.
Yeah, that was up after Pop Art.
Right. Yeah. And like that was kind of her kind of similar kind of like, I'm going to twist how I'm portrayed in the media and like how I'm seen. Of course, she did her own course correcting measure, which was being in an Oscar nominated film. Yeah. And that kind of is now reversed Taylor doesn't really have that.
Well, she was in a film.
Yeah, that wasn't Oscar nominated.
Will be talked about at the Oscars. There will be a mention of it.
But anyway, so yeah, however you want to read it, it's a fascinating thing.
Well, she did try because she put out a single for it.
Yeah, she did.
Or I don't know if they want to say that as trying, but she did some effort to try and do that.
So this thing it's fascinating because it is kind of an eye into celebrity. It does humanize Taylor a little bit more, probably more so than most of the things she's done. But it creates this dichotomy of a person, which is this person who wants so badly to be seen as genuine, who wants so badly to be seen as this good girl, and she goes into that kind of need for praise and applause and people like positive feedback, and how she's always lived off of it. But then the other side of Taylor, which is she knows she's a brand and a business, and she's really good at it.
Right.
So it creates this really interesting portrait of Taylor Swift in 2020. And I was fascinated by it. So if any of that sounds interesting, I recommend checking it out and drawing your own conclusions. But yeah, you'll come out of it thinking multiple things. And yeah, it could be any of the things we mentioned here. But I kind of came out on the other end being like, yeah, she seems more like a real person than I thought. But also, this is a really smart business move. Regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like she wants to, kind of like what Lady Gaga did.
Yeah.
And kind of like what Elton John did with Rocket Man.
Yeah.
That they want to kind of set the record straight on who they are as a person.
They want to control the narrative.
And control their own narrative.
Exactly. It's all 100% about controlling a narrative that kind of spiraled out of place for her at some point. And this is definitely her basically taking the reins back and being like, no, I'm going to let you peek behind the quote curtain.
Didn't Bruce Springsteen also put out something?
Yes.
That last year?
Yes, within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's all very in the same mindset. And it's also got me thinking about like, man, celebrity just ruins these people's lives. You take somebody who's already super type A like Taylor and you put her into a situation where she's literally watched by eyes 24/7 and like everything she does is like ripped apart.
Right. Everything becomes criticized and critical.
You wonder why she spiraled so much after the Kanye stuff. And that's why.
Well,
I wonder why
we already lived through this with Britney Spears.
Right. It's the same story retold person after person. And it's weird because Taylor even had a song on her album Red about this.
Yeah.
The Lucky One, where she talks about like the cycle of people being the new hot like celebrity girl being torn down, and the person basically the revelation she has by the end of the song is, man, that person who retreated and took the one didn't want to be famous anymore and went to the small cottage and like just enjoyed their life. They're the actual winner in this scenario. If only she had listened to herself at 22. Anyway, so yeah, Miss Americana, it's on Netflix now.
All right, Miss Americana.
But those aren't even the two big things.
No, they're not. All right, so we had two series finales that happened this past week. One was a slow burn, the other one was a bomb.
Sure was.
All right, which one do you want to talk about first?
Oh, man, well, let's go chronological order. The Good Place.
All right, so last Wednesday we left you with the cliffhanger.
Yes.
Basically saying The Good Place had put on a show that felt like a series finale before the series finale was set to air.
But man, they had something up their sleeves.
Oof.
They had an hour long of basically like just making you sit with the characters that you've loved so much for 4 years and letting you say goodbye to them on their own time and your own time.
Yeah.
They took an hour for a show that's usually 30 minutes, and man,
I'm glad they did. They used every bit of it.
I'm glad they did, because that show, if anything, especially this season, is so much about, we know you like these characters. You know you want to be with these characters. So here, sit with them for a while, really get into their heads about what they're thinking about this current situation, and let them leave when they're ready. And that's exactly what this was.
Well, this whole season was about basically putting forward the good that had come the previous 3 seasons.
Yeah.
The lessons they had learned, the stuff they had tried, and tried to leave the bad place into a rather good place, into where they felt better about themselves. Because that's all the show's really been about, is bettering yourself by bettering those around you.
But the interesting thing that this season did, and like this finale did, was like, yeah, but what if you've done all of the things you can do? Mm-hmm. What if you get to the point finally where you're like, no, I'm satisfied. I did the ultimate thing that I wanted to do. And it kind of dwells on the question of, if people are presented with infinite happiness, infinite paradise, they're going to get over it at some point, right? Like, they're going to come to a logical conclusion.
You would think that you can't be in a blissful state forever. Or so, that is something that they wrestle with.
And so, yeah, I really, really enjoyed how they approached this this finale. It really felt like that you really were, like, seeing the characters get what they always wanted. Every main character got the thing that they had been fighting for, the thing that they had been, like, yearning for this whole time. And it really felt like a really great tying of loose ends, nice little wrapping on the package by the end of it.
Yeah. This is what happens when you let Michael Schur dictate his own ending on his own terms.
Yeah, like, it's what you get when you have any show really come to its end on its own terms. None of it felt rushed.
Yeah.
Like, you think back to, like, other endings of series, like 30 Rock and Parks and Rec, and you just think, like, no, they did not know / did not have time to figure out how they were going to end it. But this, no, it feels 100% planned. And it was.
Yeah. I mean, they did come out beforehand saying, will be our final season. We know, we've told what we want to, now we're going to tell the end.
Yeah, the question with Good Place always was, back in when we talked about it in previous years, was, like, it always leaves you in, like, where did they go from here? What else can they possibly do? And of course, the ultimate answer to that question turns out at the very end of the series is nothing.
Yeah.
The answer is nothing, because we've done everything.
Right. And that's where it kind of leads to. I did like the kind of meta aspect that when you do become nothing, that your essence floats out into the world and does good.
Encourages good in other people. That's really, really cool. Like, it's a really good lesson at the end of it, that it's not for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, because there is kind of a conversation at one point in the finale where it's like, the question is, like, what does happen when, like, it's this series' equivalent of what happens in like, the afterlife. It's like, what happens in the afterlife.
Right, what happens when you're done with the afterlife.
And the fact that they were able to have such a positive message to be the answer to that question is really, really cool. Yeah. And, like, it just makes that whole series just feel like it's just a ball of positivity. That series was nothing but, improving, like, upon yourself, improving, like helping improve others, like, being good friends to each other, just being the best person that you could be. And ended on such a perfect note for that.
Now, is this a series you would revisit?
Possibly in a few years. Yeah, I could see myself doing the whole thing again.
Like, because I've run through Parks and Rec probably 4 times since its ending.
And I've run through 30 Rock probably like 4 or 5 times total.
Right.
So yeah, I could easily see. In fact, this would be a series that I feel like might be the first series I ever actually purchase. I might buy a Blu-ray.
Okay.
Of all 4 seasons, because it would be good to have.
Right, because I've seen this through in initial runs and then helping my doctor catch up for this past season. So I've seen it. I've seen the first 3 seasons twice.
Yeah.
And I still love it.
Yeah, still good. The question, of course, now, I heard a rumor that amongst the rumored Peacock shows is supposedly a spin-off of The Good Place.
A spin-off?
So, the rumor is...
Will it follow Michael's adventure on the Earth?
You're close. No, it actually doesn't take place after the events of the finale.
Okay.
Apparently, it takes place during the events of an earlier time in the show, because the Bad Place still exists.
Right.
It's apparently a spinoff based on the Bad Place crew, like the kind of the board that was making all the decisions for the Bad Place.
Yes.
Including the lava monster and what's her name and
Vicky.
Yeah, Vicky and all them. And apparently we'll have cameo appearances in some way of Tahani and Janet.
Okay.
That's the rumor. And it would presumably be called The Bad Place.
Okay.
Does that sound interesting?
I mean, no. Because it sounds like it takes place during the ending.
Yeah.
Where Tahani decides to become an architect.
Yeah.
But it's about teaching the demons how to properly torture humans.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, there's also
how to properly set up.
Yeah.
Like the environments for each person.
Who knows what it actually is?
Like the testing areas.
Also, who knows if this is even happening?
Right.
But it would be interesting. And the nice thing is that because Peacock's free, you don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to pay to watch this thing.
No, it's free with ads.
Free. It's free.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows if that's actually going to happen. But overall, though, yeah, I was super satisfied with the end of this thing. And yeah, it just felt good. It just felt good with it. It wasn't overly sad. It had some sad moments. Mm-hmm. But like, overall, it's not, I thought it was going to be something where I was like, oh man, it sucks that it's over. But no, it felt like there was a lot of closure. And I feel satisfied.
Yeah, all the characters accomplished what they wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
Given the infinite time.
Yeah.
But also, like within the show, we saw them accomplish everything and make those full character arcs.
Yeah. No.
So I guess the last thing to say is to keep it sleazy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, series finale that does the exact opposite of all of that that I just talked about is the next one.
So, we had such a good finale with The Good Place. So,
a show about being positive, about being a better person, and succeeding at that.
Now, let's talk about a show that
also is kind of about being a better person.
But goes way through the drums of society.
But is kind of also about failing at that over and over and over again.
BoJack Horseman.
Okay, alright,
So Will Arnett is a horse.
So yeah, this was the second half of the last season. We had our first half in the end of last year. And I talked about that in our kind of year-end wrap-up stuff as being strong, but feeling like there was still some leftover business.
Which there was.
Well, they really gave us the business.
So, this is 5 episodes?
It was, I feel like it was more than that.
6?
Yeah, it was 6 or so. But yeah, it was a trip. So, I guess I feel like it's harder to go into the details here because of so much had to be kind of cleaned up at the end of this series. But yeah, if you watch the first half of the last series, you basically know the setup. Is that BoJack has returned from rehab, and he has a new gig as an acting professor at the same college as his sibling, turns out. Sorry, spoiler for season 5. Hollyhock. And so it kind of goes into that, like where we left off. But then Hollyhock also, at the end of the last kind of half of the season, found out that BoJack was involved in a friend's basically hospitalization due to alcohol poisoning. And she didn't know that. And when she finds out, it makes their kind of relationship kind of tested. And then all of a sudden, we're right back into it with all the drama, because that turns into a big, like a couple of reporters suddenly interested in BoJack's life, even though now he is to a point where he feels like he's moved on. The world hasn't, and the reporters are after him about dressed somehow in all of this.
This feels a little bit like the Seinfeld ending.
It kind of,
where they
funny that you say that.
Talk about everything they've done.
There is an element of that, but really, it's just an interesting kind of like experiment in halves, because you had the first half of the season, which was much like, no, he's improving, he's getting there, like everybody's getting to close, like getting their closure, everybody's getting to the point where we're having happy endings for these characters. And this second half is more like, no, screw that. There are no happy endings for any of these people. Mm-hmm. It's going to be complicated, and we're going to dredge up the past just one last time to make sure that that BoJack and the audience are reminded that no, he's not off scot-free. That he did do all of these terrible things, and he's going to have to face somewhat the music about all of that. Mm-hmm. But the journey to get to the ending, though, I don't know if that all necessarily pays off. Without going into specific spoilers, he is punished. There is a punishment of sorts for BoJack by the end of the series. I will say, no, he does not die.
Does the punishment fit the crime?
He is punished for a crime, yes.
Okay.
But it's not the one you think he should be. And that's, I think, the one thing that I think a lot of people are going to come off at the end of the series and really question is about, like, yes, he got punished, but did it meet what he did, the actual level of the crime that he actually had committed earlier in the series? Are those characters given their, like, basically opportunity to speak up about it? Kind of not. And then, is it left at the end where you believe that he could, in fact, have a career going forward, or should he? There's a lot of questions about that kind of thing, especially in the light of the current climate in Hollywood.
You mean with Robert Downey Jr.?
With not only Robert Downey Jr., but like with the Me Too movement,
right?
And all of
I know that's what you're going for.
It's all basically hovering over the events of these last few episodes. And so, yeah, your feelings about how all that should go will definitely paint how you react to how they address the stuff with BoJack. So that being said, all the rest of the characters, though, actually have pretty good endings. They're able to kind of even further close the book on a lot of the other storylines in a satisfying way that I felt really made sense for all of them. But that one question about like whether or not about how BoJack gets punished, whether he should have gotten a harsher punishment, all that stuff still kind of lingers at the end. And it does have a lingering end. The last shot is very much like gives you the the time to really think about, oh, where could these characters go from here? What could happen to him from here on out? And yeah, it doesn't feel super satisfying. It's the opposite feeling I got from The Good Place, where with The Good Place I was like, yep, all right, we're done, we're out, we're good, we all feel great about this. And to BoJack felt like, I don't know how I feel about this. It doesn't feel like, I feel like we got some of the stuff got closure, but not everything. And I'm sure that's on purpose.
Are you hoping for a BoJack movie?
No, I don't think it'll ever happen.
No?
Because where they leave that character, most of the audience isn't going to want to see him again.
Okay.
And that's, I think, on purpose. Because if this was a real person who had done all this stuff in real life, you also wouldn't want to see that person again.
Okay.
It's. I think it's very purposeful in its ambiguity. I think it's very purposeful in its depiction of him, because I think it could have very easily stumbled into the problem of, oh yeah, he's a bad guy, but he's the protagonist, so we love him. And the last half of the series, they really looked into that and was made a really, really tried to be clear that no, we are not supposed to like him. Nobody in the show likes him. They deal with him. They are his friends because they are his friends, not necessarily because they think he's worth it. And it kind of it's always been a show about the question of yes, these people make these terrible decisions, but how?
And I could never get over how terrible he was to the fact of me trying to root for him.
It was always a show that was two things at once. It was always a show that was half, yes, this is a show about a terrible person making terrible decisions. And then the other half was, this is a really, really funny, gag-heavy like spoof of celebrity in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And I love both of those sides of the show for different reasons. And I think the reason why I kept going was because the balance was so good. Like, just the balancing act between those two things was always impressive to me. And it never went too far in either direction for me. And it remains that to the end. But, yeah, how much you can deal with that character will definitely affect how much you can watch of this show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't recommend it for everybody, but if you've stuck by the show this long, see it out to the end.
Okay.
It's worth it, but man, that show. Also, they have another, like, Emmy caliber episode in this bunch of episodes, just like last season.
Was that last season?
The free churro episode, which actually won the Emmy. This one is, they have one that deals with BoJack's presumed death, which doesn't end up actually being permanent. He doesn't die, but I feel like I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday, where like I feel like they wanted to do, like, even if they didn't ultimately decide to kill him, they wanted to do an episode where he basically was dead, and so they did it anyways. Yeah. And so yeah, it's fascinating. It basically is like a metaphor for what actually happens when you die, but not like at all like The Good Place. It's interesting. Two shows that dwell so heavily, like finales especially, that dwell so heavily on the question of what is an afterlife, what does it mean. Like, let's actually talk about like what different people dying, like let's go into this. Like, and they do it completely differently. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot to kind of unwrap there, but
series you would watch again?
I actually have been recently considering going back to the early seasons and watching them because I just like I said, the gag stuff and the joke writing and stuff is some of the strongest that I've ever seen.
Okay.
And like I think that would be strong enough to keep me like going on a rewatch because I would have already known all the dramatic turns coming. Like, the first time, that's the tough part. Mm-hmm. The second time, I will already know all that stuff was going to happen, so it wouldn't be as bad. Okay. So, like, it would be probably a more breezy watch the second time. Or I might just watch Tuca and Birdie again.
for the one season.
Because, man, if only that had kept going. But, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It was BoJack through and through, and you either love it or hate it. And it's still one of the best shows on television.
Period. Well, period.
Yep.
No longer.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts?
That's all I want.
Okay. Lego Masters, it premieres tonight. We'll have that next time.
Yeah, adults done making Legos on primetime television.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Well, speaking of Will Arnett.
Yeah, speaking of Will Arnett, he's the host of that.
Yeah. So don't feel too bad for him that BoJack got canceled. Do we have any other thoughts, or are we good to go?
That's it for television. Let's move on to
right.
cancellations and renewals.
Okay, what am I no longer watching?
Netflix has canned The Crown. Its 5th season will be its last.
Its upcoming 5th season, they will do a new Queen Elizabeth II. Imelda something.
Yeah, something.
Will be the new queen for the 5th and final season.
Netflix has also canceled Soundtrack after 1 season and Spinning Out after 1 season.
Sounds like they spun out of a broken record.
Meanwhile,
spun out of a record scratch, rather.
Meanwhile, on Fox, they've fallen in so much love with The Masked Singer that they've dumped their other music show. Beat Shazam is over after 4 seasons.
I mean, Jamie Foxx was on the... wait, is it canceled or is it renewed?
Canceled. Oh, no, sorry, you have a renewal. Sorry, I thought it was canceled.
No,
sorry, never mind. Beat Shazam is coming back for a 4th season.
Yeah, there you go.
It will not be canceled.
It's under cancellation renewals, but it's not canceled.
So many cancellations.
There's no cancellation next to that.
So many cancellations.
So I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure that wasn't canceled.
You're right. It continues to exist.
Yes. Shazam continues to get all of that free ad space.
What is canceled, though, over on Showtime, after 7 long seasons of being everyone's dad's favorite show, Ray Donovan is over.
Yes, that show is officially canceled. What did I get? 7 seasons?
7 seasons.
Wow. Yes, your dad's favorite show.
Yeah, everybody's dad's favorite show, Ray Donovan.
Yep, my dad watched it.
which they watch it right before they go see a screening of Ford versus Ferrari.
Yep. Which
Which we totally forgot to mention earlier.
Oh, no. I remember. I remember it. I saw it there. I was like, nope, don't need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's Dad's favorite film. So, yeah, your dad's show. And finally, we can no longer ask, hey, who's watching Ray Donovan?
Yep.
Because the answer is no one anymore.
And then that's it for cancellations, renewals, and we do have one death. This happened today.
Yeah, I saw this today. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had this. But
none other than Kirk Douglas.
Mr. Spartacus himself.
Age 107 years old.
Yeah, I got that right. 107.
107. Yeah, kind of been for a while we've been talking about, like, he's on his way out, right? And it finally did happen.
Yes, father of Michael
Douglas. Yes.
Who's father of... Is there another Douglas out there right now, too?
There's...
Yeah, I thought there was...
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought Michael Douglas had a son that was also acting.
I don't remember.
Maybe.
But yeah, so chances are you will see a big in memoriam segment for him.
I don't know if he will make it or not. Or they will probably try and shove him in there somewhere.
They'll edit him in.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for deaths, which means
right,
we get to...
I was going to say that, because normally there's a cutoff date that they do.
Oh, yeah.
So it might end up becoming... So I think it's like February or January.
We'll see. But I hand this over to you now because it's time to talk about music.
All right. It's music. And we always start music with the billboards. And we always start the billboards with the Hot 100s.
What's hot?
I'll tell you what's hot. The Box. You know, The Box by Roddy Ricch is your number one single. Again. Life is Good with just Future. Featuring Drake, really. Number 2. Number 3, Circles by Post Malone.
Uh-huh.
Number 4, Memories by Maroon 5.
Yep.
And number 5, Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi.
Yep. Yeah, same old really this week.
Yeah, I don't think anything changed.
Yeah.
As for your Billboard 200, your albums charts, Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial by Roddy Ricch is your number 1 album.
Jumped back up after a couple of weeks lower in the list.
Yep. Number 2 is Music to Be Murdered by Eminem.
We're down a notch.
That was last week's number 1. Number 3, When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish.
Grammy bump.
Yep.
This was your Grammy bump.
That's the Grammy bump. Number 4, Manic by Halsey.
Yep.
Good to see that still up there.
Still there.
And number 5, Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone.
Yep.
Constantly being up there.
Constantly.
Well, if you didn't like any of those albums, or you're tired of listening to those albums, we have new releases.
Oh, what am I listening to this week?
I don't know what you're listening to, but here are the new releases. We have The Fallen Crimson by Envy. Father of All, ... by Green Day.
I believe the end of that ... is motherfuckers.
Oh. I don't believe they can print that.
But I don't think they could print that, exactly.
We have Supervision by LaRue.
Yep.
Yes.
That LaRue.
Remember
Bulletproof?
Yes.
Yes.
We also have A Simple Trick to Happiness by Lisa Loeb.
Oh, Lisa Loeb can tell me what the...
That Lisa Loeb.
Yeah. My birthday buddy. She's also born on March 11th.
We also have Never Not Together by Nada Surf.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know I put it on an album.
Not you. Chrissy just saw them in concert.
Oh.
Anyway.
Good live?
She liked it.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I can't tell you.
All right. We also have Low Season by Poolside.
Okay.
Limitless by Richard Marx. Quandra by Sepultura.
Sure.
All or Nothing by Shopping.
Yep.
And Perdita by Stone Temple Pilots.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, those Stone Temple Pilots. Mm-hmm. All right. That brings us into music news.
It sure does. What's in the news is 2 follow-up stories.
Well, in response to ousted Recording Academy CEO Deborah Dugan's request last week to be released from the arbitration agreement she signed when she took the job, the Academy has agreed to have the dispute heard publicly. However, that agreement is not liberating as it first sounds. Dugan said the Academy intentionally brought this dispute to the public's attention, and I am asking you to agree to let the public and music industry access to the legal proceedings to come in this case. Adding, quote, I have nothing to hide. The public and the music industry have the right to know what is going on behind closed doors at the Academy, end quote. The offered agreement would free the Academy from its confidentiality agreement as well, but arbitration would prevent the dispute from coming before a jury. Yeah. And Dugan's attorney, Doug Woodger, apparently spurned the offer.
It makes sense, right? Like, it makes sense that she'd want to be in front of a trial, be at trial, so that way she can go into the nitty-gritty of the circumstances in which she left, about the accused sexual misconduct. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the Academy doesn't want that to happen because they don't want this to blow up even bigger than it already has.
Well, not only that, because it goes to trial, everything comes out into the open, and they have to provide discovery for both sides when they ask for it. Meaning that all their dirty laundry will be aired out in the open, and it gets a chance for the public to see what are they actually trying to hide, if anything, because she seems very forefront about this. Being like, if you want to go after me, I will gladly do this out in the open. Come and get me.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting, and I don't know what's going to come out of this. I don't know if she's going to get it. I bet that this arbitration stands. But, yeah, we'll see.
More on this. Quote, the Recording Academy's effort at portraying arbitration as a fair process for employees is disingenuous, as everyone knows arbitration unfairly favors, protects, and insulates employers from their unlawful actions.
It's true.
It is telling that the Recording Academy is unwilling to allow a jury of Miss Dugan's peers decide this matter.
Yeah, if this sounds familiar at all, it's because we had a similar arbitration story when we were talking about the Riot Games stuff. About how their employees also wanted to get out of the arbitration situation because they knew that would be pretty one-sided.
Mm-hmm. Because when most clauses for arbitration, it is the company that decides who comes in and does the arbitration.
Right.
Which, arbitration is supposed to be a third party, but if one side is choosing said party,
then that's not really unbiased.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens out of this. I really hope that she gets to tell her story because, man, I want to know, what the hell happened.
I kind of want to see if this is to call the Recording Academy's bluff.
Yeah.
And they drop the charges?
Maybe.
And then if they do, if she decides to then sue them for defamation.
Yeah.
And then they have to air it anyways. Because they have to prove their case that, see, we didn't do this because of X, Y, and Z.
Well, we'll find out.
I think that'd be more interesting if that ends up happening. Instead of just, well, here's everything we have on you. And then it also becomes, wait, why do you have all of this on me?
Right.
Shouldn't some of this stuff be private information?
We'll see.
We'll see.
But then a happy story.
Yeah, that's something we'll keep our eye on. But another story. My Chemical Romance.
Your Chemical Romance.
Yes, specifically My Chemical Romance. You have your own biological romance, whatever.
Gross.
I am a chemistry romance. I'm sorry, a chemical
romance.
Yes, well, after an almost 7-year hiatus, the return of MCR arrives on a high note as the band has already sold out its North American tour with 228,600 tickets purchased in less than 6 hours.
Chrissy got hers.
The Make Room performers thanked their loyal supporters, saying, quote, You've worn out all your dance shoes this time. The tour was announced in a short film Released by the group on Wednesday, the 13-minute video has since garnered almost 1.3 million views. And of those 1.3 million views, at least 228,000 people have decided to purchase tickets.
That's a lot of people. They even had to announce a second date in Los Angeles.
Like an LA show?
Yeah, because it sold out so quickly.
Yep, makes sense.
So Christy got the tickets to the second show.
Ah, okay.
So,
yeah.
So good for all those fans who get to go.
Interesting if they continue to sell out, if this means that people want new MCR, or if
it looks like people want new music from them.
Or if they just want to hear the classics, hear the hits.
They would be very smart to put out a record. That's all I'm saying.
I said that last time.
Yeah, it's true.
We had the story that
it remains true.
They should put out a record because they have all these eyes, all these ears.
Turns out.
All right. Speaking of having all these eyes and all these ears,
I do have eyes and ears.
We have an album to talk about.
And you know what? Honestly, I thought I would have more to say about this one, but I really don't.
All right. So, does that mean you're taking the low road or the high road?
More like the middle road, because that's how I kind of felt at the end of this thing. Did you listen to this?
I listened to about half of it.
I don't blame you.
Because well, one, I kind of ran out of time.
But also,
and two, I
could understand not being compelled to want to finish this thing.
Yeah.
Because let's bring back the clock a little bit and talk about how good Rainbow was. Because wasn't Rainbow good?
I liked me some Rainbow.
I liked Rainbow. It was a good album. It was a reminder that Kesha could write songs really well. It was a reminder that she liked all sorts of different kinds of genres and kinds of songs. And it was a really cool, restart, a reset button, if you will, for her career. Where it felt like this is the kind of artist she is now. She's making the kind of music she wants to make. This is now who Kesha is.
It was also the first album post all the trial stuff.
Yeah, so...
all the Dr. Lou.
So, High Road takes that and occasionally feels that way. Mm-hmm. Occasionally has that feeling of potential, that feeling of joy, but then half of it also feels kind of like, hey, people were complaining about me not being old Kesha, so I brought old Kesha back. Even at one point, literally, there is a song on this record that is credited to Kesha and Kesha with a $sign, implying that she brought her old, version of herself, her old alter ego, and is duetting with her on this record. I can't make this shit up. And that is, in itself, kind of what this whole record feels like. It feels like a compromise.
It definitely does. The first 3 songs on this album almost sound like a Lizzo
soundtrack. There's a little bit of Lizzo effect
going on here. It sounds like old Kesha, like new Lizzo, a producer went, this is what's hot right now. Yeah. We want radio play. This is what's going to get you radio play. Instead of Kesha wanting to do her own stuff, which she does eventually get to. Yeah. This thing is an hour-long album.
That's the thing, is that it's a cake and eat it too kind of scenario. Yeah. Here, because she does want to get into that kind of more pop zone that she used to be in. There's a lot of songs here that do that.
Yeah, but pop music has changed since she was at the top of the charts.
There's that, but also I think that when it does work, it works really well. I really like Raising Hell, the single. Mm-hmm. I think it's good. I think that's a killer chorus. I think it's fun. I think it's just EDM enough where it could get radio play, but it's also genuine enough, feels genuine enough where this is also something that the new Kesha currently made and has her effect on it. So that is an example of that compromise being a good compromise. But elsewhere on the record, that formula doesn't work as well.
And I got through most of it.
It seems like every other song is almost a disappointment. And the highlights that are there are not strong enough to put the whole thing over the top.
It's also a very wide and varied album.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have the pop stuff. You have one where she duets with herself. You have the breakdowns, and then you also have a song where she does a variation of the Super Mario 8-bit soundtrack. to it.
I want to believe that the earliest version, like if you listen to a demo of that thing, it was just straight up the Super Mario Brothers song. But then somebody told her, like, we can't do that.
We can't get
it. She was like, all right, make a sound alike, and somebody made a sound alike for her because it's 100%. You could probably take the Super Mario Brothers, put it right there, and it would fit perfectly.
At the very end, where it was just the two, I was like, okay, I got it with Super Mario Brothers. I was like, okay, clearly this is supposed to be it.
And yeah, that was fun. It's not great, but like that one's fun. But there are some highlights. Like I really enjoyed like a couple of the songs. Like there's one Cowboy Blues where she's actually kind of like thinking back to a kind of a happenstance encounter at a bar and being like, oh man, did I miss my chance at true love?
Yeah, like I liked that song.
That song feels because it feels very natural. It feels very confessional. Mm-hmm. And when there's moments like that on the record, it feels good because it feels like she's genuine Kesha that we saw in Rainbow.
And that's kind of what I wanted more out of this album.
Me too. And so yeah, like I ended up feeling kind of disappointed by the end of it because I wanted it to be a bigger, better Rainbow, and instead it felt like a halfway mark between her old career and this.
Right, but it is 16 songs on a 52 album.
And I think that was another
52-minute album.
It does kind of fall to the current Spotify era of everything has to be 1 billion songs long, and it doesn't do it any favors.
No,
so,
but it does.
I didn't end up caring.
It has something for everyone, but are you really going to sit through the hour long to find one or two hits?
Like I probably will not listen to this again. Yeah. Like it didn't do all out for me, and I feel disappointed.
I might listen through this again once over, just to try and find those songs.
Yeah.
But even then, it might just be 1 or 2 songs, like I said. The Cowboy song and then the Birthday Suit song.
Yeah, it is what it is. So let's move on.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about it.
All right. Moving on then
to
Kesha. Video games.
Video games. They happened.
Oh, they happened. They continue to happen. Yep. We have one new release this week.
One. That's it.
Yakuza 5.
Which is a remaster for the PS4.
Yes, comes out for the PS4. And only the PS4. That's it. Done. Moving on.
No new releases besides that. More new releases next week.
Alright. Moving on to actual video game news then. You remember how Blizzard released Warcraft Classic?
Oh, Warcraft 3? Yes. Classic? Yes, I do remember. That was recent. Well, fans weren't so happy.
Yeah, well, Warcraft 3, Reforged, has had such a rough launch that the game's community manager has issued a public apology to players on the Blizzard forums. Quote, "First off, we want to say we're sorry to those of you who didn't have the experience you wanted. And we'd like to share our plans for what's coming next." He continued to go on. Randy Jordan continued in a lengthy post where basically he went on to detail several focuses of future patches the studio will be issuing for the faulty game, including fixing the visuals in classic mode, undoing animation and audio bugs, UI corrections, and improving leaderboards and clans. The full patch notes will be available at a later date, when the first patch is scheduled to arrive later this week.
Okay, so I have a question for you about this. I want to get your feelings.
Answer.
Is this, one, a further example of just Blizzard dropping the ball one thing after another, or, alternatively, and I guess it could be a combination of these two things, is this another example of the fans being so butthurt about every single decision that Blizzard makes that they make a huge deal out of a mountain out of a molehill? Which do you think it more is?
I want to go with a little bit of both.
A little column A and a little bit column B.
I would say that's the politician in me speaking.
Right.
I'm going to go more so with this is Blizzard's fault.
Okay.
This is Blizzard's fault for making it buggy, and this is Blizzard's fault for not giving the fans exactly what they want.
So what's happening over there then? Why do you think they keep running into the issues like this?
This is because they don't want you playing classic World of Warcraft. They want you playing new World of Warcraft.
This is World of Warcraft. This is Warcraft 3.
Right.
This is a different thing.
Okay.
So This is the thing. They clearly do want you to be playing this one. You
Yes.
know why? Because apparently fans are pissed off that they merged the server for the old Warcraft 3 and the new Warcraft 3, and apparently got rid of a bunch of shit that people relied on from the original version. So there's all sorts of layers to this mess. It's all decisions that Blizzard made.
Well, see,
the question then is, if we do think it is on Blizzard, why are they making these poor decisions?
Well, didn't Blizzard already put out a classic version?
You're thinking of they put out a classic version of World of Warcraft.
Right.
This is not that. This is a remaster of Warcraft 3.
See, I'm getting confused here.
Yeah, it's confusing, I know. Because they are basically going through all of their old catalog and just making old stuff new. Almost as if they need filler before their next big game is out. Diablo 4 next year. Later this year? Maybe later this year.
Maybe later this year.
So yeah, like I'm struggling with this because like they can't be this messed up. The culture over there can't have gone this downhill where they can't even pull off something that should be an easy nostalgia win, like a remaster of a classic game. They can't even do that now. They somehow mess up every single step they've been doing, like every single step in this process of trying to win their fans back.
I think they put too much of a deadline on putting this stuff together when they clearly shouldn't, or the code that they have is just so originally broken.
So broken that they needed to
fix it.
They felt like they needed to make it modern, and that pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
So the question then the next question then, I guess, is, do you think that Diablo and the upcoming Overwatch 2, are those going to be big enough? Are those going to matter enough where the fans will be back on their good graces? Or do you think maybe we're seeing the Twilight era of Blizzard as fans stop like being in love with them?
I think you might be seeing the end of Blizzard.
An end of an era,
at least of
Red Blizzard. They no longer are going to be this beloved, can do no wrong company, and will now become, it's these guys.
Right, and I think this becomes part of the problem with an esports league.
Yeah.
Is that you can't continuously run the same game, like Overwatch, for 50 plus years. Much like you can do with the professional sport.
Right. Video games are different.
Right. Video games evolve over time. And yes, you can say sports evolve over time with new rules and new ways of thinking, but the end game is still essentially the same. It's not like you have a new release of baseball.
Yeah, it's not Baseball 2 coming out next year. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like XFL.
Although we might need a Baseball 2 as things are going right now.
Yeah, no, but we are getting a football 2.
The XFL.
The XFL. The following Sunday. I'll report about that later. I'm actually going to might do a fantasy football on that.
You told me about that. I told you I'm totally in.
Yeah, it might just be a 6-team league or an 8-team league.
That's funny.
But it's definitely an interesting dynamic going on at Blizzard. I think once we had the merger with Activision, I think that is kind of like the turning point where they got so big that they became more corporate than more personable. So
that's complicated, though, because if you actually look back into the history of that, one, it wasn't really a merger, nor was it a buyout. It was kind of like the course of companies changing hands. So I guess whatever holding company that had bought Blizzard in the really early days, in the late 90s, early 90s,
the holding company,
they ended up being bought by Vivendi. Vivendi had the Blizzard basically was their owner up until Vivendi in the mid 2000s decided to divest from video games, and then that's when basically they sold all of their assets to Activision. The video game assets to Activision. So it wasn't necessarily like a buyout or a merger. It was more like a dump. It was more like, we don't want this anymore. Here's a giant company that's buying, that'll take it. And that's kind of... But yeah, you're not wrong, though, that corporate like the corporate
structure.
As more and more of the big names
Mm-hmm.
of Blizzard that used to be the people you associate with the brand have left, you probably do have those holes being filled by Activision personnel.
Right.
And yeah, the question is how much of these decisions are being made by those people as opposed to the people who used to be the shepherds of the brand. So that's definitely a theory. That could be the cause of all this.
Well,
who knows?
I mean, it's also, yeah, sure, it's a cost, but it's also not a solution either.
No.
I mean, the clear solution is
Yeah.
bring in fresh ideas. Don't keep making sequel after sequel.
Except that's all they've ever done. The last time they put out an original IP was Overwatch,
Yeah,
and that's like the rare
right. And even then, that was within the past 5 years, and that was like a 10-year gap.
And even then, apparently, that all came out at the end of a very long development cycle for an MMO that didn't even happen.
Right.
All the Overwatch assets and characters and stuff were developed for a thing that never got made originally. So
Yeah.
Blizzard's a mess, basically, is the end of the story. And, we have no idea why they just keep putting their shoe back into the mud over and over and over again. So, we'll see what happens.
All right.
Next up.
Next up, then, is Rockstar Games. As I saw this bouncing around, I was like, oh no!
Yeah.
So, Dan Houser
Yes.
is leaving Rockstar.
Yes.
Departing the studio after what parent company Take-Two described as an extended break that began back in spring of 2019. The former vice president of creative at Rockstar Games will put in his last day with the company on March 11th. That date sounds familiar.
I wonder why.
Dan Houser is
311.
one half of the Houser brothers.
Yes.
A pair of game developers who have led many of Rockstar's creative efforts since Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yeah.
San Andreas.
The original.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
GTA 3, yeah.
Okay.
And then also the sequels.
Right. Well, they frequently worked alongside producer and former Rockstar North president Leslie Benzies,
Yes.
who left Rockstar
The Benz.
back in 2016.
I think we talked about that on this podcast.
Yes, we did.
The Benz.
The Benz, parting with Rockstar, included a lawsuit over allegedly unpaid royalties.
Yeah.
But there's no indication so far that Dan Houser is leaving on negative terms with the company. Just
Yeah, short and sweet.
short and sweet. Rockstar's
yeah.
moving on. But what a legacy.
Yeah, what a legacy. He definitely made an impact there creatively with the direction that the GTA series went in. And also Red Dead, which he worked on as well.
Yep.
But also, this kind of leaves it open to interpretation, what's next for Rockstar? They've had such incredible success with GTA Online recently that maybe they don't need creative leads for a narrative-based game anymore.
Well, I mean, as Rockstar, as GTA Online and Red Dead Redemption Online has proven that they make money hand over fist, day in, month out, yearly, in the billions.
So the question is that do they make another traditional GTA after this? Or do they pull a Valve and realize that the money is in the recurring revenue and not the creative, narrative-driven works? We'll see.
I mean, I don't think they're going to be one to, open up their own platform.
They already did. They opened up the Rockstar store, remember?
No.
We reported on this.
We did?
Yes, they have their own store that does have their own games. Right now it's just their own titles.
Maybe that's why...
But they said that they would be open to exploring other developers.
Yeah, but didn't this happen right after Riot?
It was...
Right before Riot, but then Riot, basically got all the IPs.
No, you're thinking Epic, not Riot.
Epic?
Epic Store is the other one.
Isn't Epic
So
Riot?
it is similar. It was around the same time. It was after the Epic Store stuff. And they were like, oh, we got one too. But like I said, so far it's only really been used for their own stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that they even opened it in the first place means that they're considering these other sources of revenue. So that is an evolving company, and who knows what Rockstar is going to be looking like by the time we get into this next generation. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't see them making games because they don't need to. But I think they will make a GTA.
Will there be a GTA 6? You think
per console cycle now?
Okay. Oh, it's just so that there's a new place to go to GTA Online.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
And otherwise, what are you gonna do? Remake GTA 5 again?
Again, yeah. We will certainly see.
Well, do you have any thoughts on anything else?
I mean, I talked about my thought earlier that I finished my the show 19 season finally.
Okay. And I may do XFL fantasy football.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Other than that, I've just been playing Call of Duty more.
I did become Pokemon League champion.
Yay! You did it.
Yes, and then I met the dudes with the weird hair.
Yep, that's all you need. That's all you need to do. At the end.
Speaking of,
did you Battle Tower yet?
No, not yet. Did you pick up the Charmander?
I did not pick up the Charmander.
Wow, you're the second person I know.
I didn't.
You know where to get it?
I mean, if it was happening, I totally missed it.
You can still go pick him up. It's the first thing I did because I didn't know where to go. So I figured, I'm gonna go say hi to Hop.
Yeah.
Let me go to his house.
Yeah.
Oh shit, he's not here. Oh wait, there's a Pokeball here with a Charmander inside.
Well, what do you know?
So if you want to go pick one up, that's where you got to go.
Right. Well, I might pick that back up in a little bit here.
Yeah. Well, because I picked him up and then just immediately leveled him up to Charizard because
hell yeah!
Because I stuck him in and then started fighting level 60 Pokemon. I was like, XP share.
Nice.
Instant Charmeleon.
Gigantamax Charizard.
No. Gigantamax Wailord.
Whoa. Thing's already huge.
Yeah, you think he's huge now. I also do Gigantamax Snorlax because he's also pretty huge.
Oh, yeah, no, I love Gigantamax Snorlax. He had like a city on him.
Yeah.
Alright, that's it for video games.
Alright, plug away.
That's it for Media Boat Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back next week with another episode of the Media Boat Podcast. If you want to watch us live, YouTube.com, search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our channel. Like, subscribe, click the bell. You'll get notifications if you do that of when we go live. We usually go live around 6:30 or a little earlier in the case of this week. We'll be back. We're also in audio form. If you want to find us on podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, just search Media Boat Podcast and find our archive of shows. If you want to see us play video games live, we're on twitch.tv/MediaBoat, sometimes playing video games. You can also find us on social media networks such as Twitter. We're at MediaBoatCast. Facebook, search Media Boat Podcast, find our page. You can comment there as well. You can email us questions and comments at MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com. And last but not least, certainly not least, you can go to patreon.com/MediaBoat. There. You can donate to us. This is not a free enterprise. We do need money to host the podcast. So your donations could help us make this show even better. As little as $1 a month can help us out. So please consider donating at patreon.com/MediaBoat. And with that, we leave you. Enjoy the Academy Awards on Sunday. Let our picks influence your bets. Don't really.
And I'm going to stop this recording because we hit 2 hours.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Academy Awards next week. Woo! Or on Sunday.
It's happening.
Man, I got some